goes on, and now finally we get the rematch Barnett's been looking for years.
We talked about corners earlier with how important it is to have Randy Couture in your corner. Josh Barnett with Eric Paulson in his corner, and Stitch Duran. He never travels. He won't go anywhere in the world if he's going to fight without the cut man, Stitch Duran. And actually, because of that, I started using Stitch for my cut man as well. And
you see Stitch all over events, whether it's boxing or MMA. Guy does wonders on your face.
Well, this is the thing about Josh. Josh is a very smart man. That makes him a good fighter because he is smart, and he goes about doing this as a business, and he brings in Stitch because he says, if I'm going to go in there and there's a chance of me getting cut, I want the best guy on my side of the ring.
You know what, to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a guy that Stitch has worked on that hasn't been able to continue to do a cut. They've never had a cut that's been able to stop a guy.
He is phenomenal at it. He stops everything. He just stopped Klitschko in Germany. He just had a fight. He stopped Klitschko's cut. Did a great job.
You know, I got to tell you guys, I love the fact that you have all these celebrities here, all these big names, people watching all over the world, that they get to see Josh Barnett, because so many people in America, they haven't had the honor and the pleasure of seeing this man go, but boy, can he rumble.
I mean, with the Donald Trumps and Michael Strahans and the Undertakers and for these guys all of a sudden get this treat of watching one of the best heavyweights in the world fighting Josh Barnett, and one of the best, you know, not journeyman, but one of the guys, one of the original guys of Pedro Rizzo in a rematch that Pedro won the first time. This is a huge deal for all these people to watch two great competitors like this be able to fight tonight.
Josh doing a very good job with that front kick to keep Pedro off balance, make it so he can't use those good leg kicks that he has. But right now, this is the difference. Pedro is that counter fighter. Josh is the guy that's aggressive and goes after people, and that's usually where you have this great fight between these two guys.
But Big John, what did we say the other day? You said it's going to be interesting to see if Barnett lets his anger and his pride take over and he stands up with Rizzo, or he does the smart thing and takes him right down. Well, 2 minutes at least into this fight, Barnett is standing up.
He's standing up, but he's being effective with what he's doing, and he's not overcommitting a lot, and that's a big part. That's what happened to him in the first fight. He was doing really well on his feet. He was actually winning the fight. He started to overcommit, and he got caught by Pedro.
From the same right, Pedro Rizzo, we've yet to see one of those vicious low leg kicks. We see one there from Barnett. But Pedro's low leg kicks are so vicious. You guys now are exchanging. Gustavo Dantas, who's with us at Arizona Combat Sports, used to be with Pedro down in Brazil. He said Pedro would have to put on 2 layers of shin pads just so he doesn't take out all of his sparring partners. He couldn't find anybody to stand up when he was done.
He does kick like a mule, man. The guy has got big legs. Both of these guys, when you look at him, Josh Barnett's got very big legs. Pedro Rizzo's got very big legs. And Pedro, when he brings that hip around with that leg, there's a ton of torque on it.
I also like the fact, too, that as Josh reaches out to try to grab a hold of Pedro, Pedro keeps his hands inside, always countering, always looking to move out of the way, and then sidesteps out. So there's really nothing there for Josh.
Beautiful lateral movement right there. Just what you're talking about, Frank. Sat there, Josh jumps inside, laterally moves. Josh now has to stop his momentum to come back.
Pedro is one of the early great ones of the sport, but then in about 2005, 2003, he started going downhill. 2005, he took off quite a bit of time and really had to have a conversation with himself. Do I really want to do this anymore? Do I like doing this anymore? He said, now I love it again. I'm recommitted. I go back to training now like I did when I was 24 years old.
And, you know, everyone has those ebbs and flows in the game. Even Randy Couture, you know, had those ups and downs of kind of not really wanting to do it and then trying to find your passion again. A guy of our age, and when you're over 34, over 35, kind of like Pedro and I are, that you find that re-step, it always is exhilarating again to get back in there and be beaten up on 24 and 25-year-old guys.
There's Josh using that front push kick again. He's doing a real good job with it. Pedro hasn't figured out how to counter it at this point.
Let you know, Frank, you don't look a day over 39. I mean, you look fantastic for your age. Just great.
Thanks, Jay. Sure.
There, Pedro's doing a great job with lateral movement. Every time Josh comes in, you look at Pedro, he's circling out, making it so Josh has to recenter himself up so he doesn't get caught out of position.
Connects there with a nice shot to the side of Josh's face.
We're starting to see Pedro be a little more active. He's more of a counter guy, and now he's starting to lead off on the punching a little bit.
You also said the last time you saw him fight was against Jeff Munson, and you saw Pedro Rizzo, even though he's an older fighter, really grow up somewhat in his second stint in MMA, if you will, you know, the second part of his career.
Well, usually what happened is if Pedro didn't bully you around the first round and you bullied him around, he'd give up in the second round, basically just the fight would be over, or he'd just hold on for a decision loss. Now with Jeff Munson, he was getting beaten the first round in the striking game against Jeff and held on and continued and figured out how to beat him. Reed learned in the corner how to beat him second and third round.
Nice kick to the side of the face. of Josh Barnett. Coming up still, we have heavyweight clashes. Andrei Arlovski, you see him there, the legend, the former UFC heavyweight champion. Boy, look at that steely stare.
That's the only smile we're going to get. There it is. Saw it?
And the man he's facing, the big man, Big Ben Rothwell. Don't tell him that he's a young puppy in the sport. Big Ben saying, you know what, I used to see Andrei Arlovski. It's not that I wanted to be in there with him. I wanted to go in and beat Andrei Arlovski. This guy is no nonsense. Love what he brings to the table.
Ben Rothwell is very similar to Josh Barnett in the mean factor. When Ben Rothwell gets into a ring, he wants to destroy you.
Yeah, but you know, the good thing though about Rothwell is at the end of the day, he'll just cook you lunch.
And the first thing he said to me, he's from Wisconsin, when he came into our production meeting, all right, what's the deal with Brett Favre? Sorry, buddy, wrong job right now. I'm MMA today. Round two, Pedro Rizzo on your left with the white shorts. Josh Barnett.
Nice job by Josh as he's coming in. He's grabbing a hold, but he's also using a little dirty box and grabbing behind the head, bringing the uppercut in. That's a very effective tool against Pedro as he starts to circle out.
Oh, nice looping right hand by Barnett. And doesn't connect flush though on his own. Barnett does look very comfortable standing up here though. I mean, always has, but he just, you know, we haven't seen him in such a long time.
Josh has always had very good stand-up, abilities, and he uses his hands very well in good combinations.
Nice up kick there.
Biggest problem for Josh when it comes to Pedro is he starts to get a little frustrated that he doesn't land the shots that he wants on Pedro. Pedro's that counter guy, and when Josh leaves that big opening, Pedro jumps on it.
Pedro Rizzo kind of reminds me of James Toney in boxing, where he's still real hard to hit no matter what happens. He's always kind of getting out of the way. Even when you hit him flush, it's still not flush.
Good head movement there by Josh Barnett. As you were praising Pedro Rizzo, Josh Barnett did exactly that.
But as you're watching this fight, the longer this fight stays on the feet, Pedro Rizzo is implementing his game plan. Josh Barnett is not. And one of the things that Josh said is his whole purpose is to make sure that he's fighting his fight. His plan is to take away the opportunities of his opponent that he's fighting and make that opponent fight their...
Josh Barnett! Pedro Rizzo is out! Huge looping left hand by Josh Barnett.